Alrighty, here we go. Ready for the test 8 review. So we're going to go through this quickly as possible, give you some tips and tricks of what I think I might do, and kind of go from there. You don't necessarily have to follow these ideas, but you can use it to check your answers and stuff like that. So use it as you need to. Anyways, alright, so let's look here. Oops, that's showing the answer. That's not what I meant to do. Let's try to go back. Okay. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to add or subtract here. Now the point is, when I'm adding or subtracting, I try to set it up to where I'm going to say, write out the things. Notice how I'm going to put here, 7x cubed minus 2x squared. Now notice, when you started with the x cubed, you go from highest to lowest exponent. You got an x cubed, an x squared, an x, and a number. Since I'm missing the x in that first parentheses, I leave a space. So notice how I left a space there. Now, as I move the second parentheses to line them up under, I'm going to say 1x squared, positive 1x squared, because a plus means it's going to keep everything that parentheses the same, minus a 1x. Notice how that goes in that space where I left that space for the x's, and then minus 5. And then I just got to combine. So 7 minus 2, and kind of go from there. Okay, sorry, but I got a little distracted there. Anyways. So I need to say the negative 2x squared plus 1x squared, and again you can just type in negative 2 plus 1 and you would get negative 1. But basically right there is everything set up to where you can just combine, and so you should get 7x cubed minus 1x squared minus 1x and then minus 2, because 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Now, notice here with the minus is going to change everything in the second parentheses. So that becomes negative 1x squared plus 3x. And then plus 11. Now, I purposely made this one where I could easily line them up and I didn't have extra little numbers. Notice it went x squared, x number. So that one, I was trying to make it a little bit easier, especially with the minus. And then all I got to do is combine. 4 minus 1 is 3. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. And 9 plus 11 is 20. Notice the x squares and the x's do not change. It just allows you to add or subtract the coefficients. Okay, so the next one. This one I'm going to try to put it in order. So I go from highest exponent to lowest. 2x to the fourth. Let's see here. Plus 5 minus 3x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8. Now notice again, I left a space between the x squared and the 8 because there should be an x. Because I haven't even looked at the second parentheses, but in case there was that space. Now as I start placing the numbers, I noticed there was no x, so I can just kind of leave it like that. But notice how I was trying to give spaces to each type of system, or each type of term. And then I just combine my like terms, and there I go. Notice here how I'm trying to do the same thing. I said 4x to the 6th. There should be an x to the 5th, but there wasn't, so I put a space. Minus 3x to the 4th. After x to the 4th would be an x cubed, so there's a space. 2x squared, and then minus 1. So I try to give spaces for all the little things, just in case I'm missing something. Like for example, you can see here there was an x cubed that needed to be right there in the middle. Didn't give myself apparently enough space, but there I go, trying to fit it in. Okay, and then from there, 4x to the 6th, negative 3 minus 3 gives me negative 6x to the 4th. Notice that I'm using the negatives and minuses kind of as the same ideal, and kind of go from there. So there's that answer. Alright, so that gets me to find each product. So now I want to say multiply. Okay, so the first one here, distributive property, so I'll use distributive property. Realize that you're multiplying the coefficients but adding the exponent. So negative 9 times 1 is negative 9. But x cubed and x squared will give me x to the 5th. So notice I added those exponents, but I multiplied the coefficients. Negative 9 times a negative 2 would be a positive 18. X cubed and x would give me x to the 4th, because 3 and 1 gives me 4. And then negative 9 times 4 is negative 36. X cubed and no x gives me x cubed. Okay, so there you go. Now, the next one, you have a couple of different ways that y'all seem to like it. I like vertical methods. Some of y'all have like distributive property, and maybe the one or two of y'all have like box method. So, for extra points, this is my little thing. You need to write down which method you like best on the bottom of your test paper. So you'll either say box, distributive, or vertical. Okay, and so that you tell me that at the bottom of the test, and that will be for 5 extra points, just to let me know what you prefer. Anyways, so this one I'm going to show by vertical method, and I'll even show by distributive. So vertical method, notice I'm putting one under the other, saying negative 4 times 12 is negative 48. Then I'm going to say 12 times 7x is 84x. Start the second row, put a 0. 3x times negative 4 is negative 12x. 3x times 7x is 21x squared. Combine my like terms, which is right there in the middle. 84 minus 12 gives me 72x. Okay, so there's my answer. Now, distributive property, what I would do is I would split the first parentheses and then write the second parentheses twice. So notice here how the 7x minus 4 got split, but I'm saying times 3x plus 12 times 3x plus 12. And then distribute. 7 times 3 is 21x squared. 7 times 12 is 84x. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12x. And negative 4 times 12 is negative 48. Combine your like terms and you get 72x. So notice here that they're basically, you're coming up with the same numbers and you're going to come up to the same answer. It's just a different way of organizing. So there you go. Alright, so I'm going to just kind of let these kind of play out a little bit more. I think this one I'm going to do by vertical method. The next two, because again that's my method I prefer. And you can kind of see how they play out. There shouldn't be any difficulties there. Notice that a negative times a negative became positive, and when I'm adding two negatives they stay negative. On this one for number 8, what I would tell you is, what I do is I always like to put the one with the smaller number of terms on the bottom, and the one with the more terms, the bigger number of terms, on the top. So since the second parentheses has 3 terms stated on top, and I'm put the x minus 1 on the bottom. So negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2, negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x, negative 1 times x squared is negative 1x squared. 0, negative 2x, plus 3x squared, plus x cubed. And then combine my like terms. Keep in mind, when you got a negative and a positive, you should take away. Signs are the same, you add. Signs are different, you take away. Alright, so now let's get to perimeter. Add up all the sides. That should be fairly easy. All you're doing is combining like terms. I'm not going to try to make it too tricky on y'all. I don't see the point. I really don't. Number 10, I might make sure I would say like add 2 of them together, or you could just add the 2 sides but then multiply by 2. So kind of keep that in mind, because I haven't decided if I'm going to make this a positive or a multiple choice, or fill in the just normal regular answer. Depends on how much time I have. Okay, now for these where you have to find the missing side, add the 2 sides up first. So when you do that, 6 plus 5 is 11x. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Okay, so that's that answer. But notice you're going to subtract that from the perimeters. So you might want to make sure that when you subtract, you're going to change the signs of those answers so that positive 11. So you're saying 15 minus 11. But the one that messes up people is that minus a negative 1. Notice how that became plus 1, which gives me 4x minus 4. I'm going to do the same thing here. Add these up. Combine them, I guess you could say. And you get 14x plus, minus 11. But when you subtract it from that, it's going to end up becoming 23x plus 11. But the 14x minus 11 will become minus 14x plus 11. And then you would get your answer there. Okay, so in case y'all, make sure y'all can see that. Alrighty. Now, area, multiply. I'm going to do this one by distributive property. For those that like the distributive property. Ugh. Anyways, 9 times 7 is 63x squared. 9 times negative 4 is negative 36x. 2 times 7 is 14x, positive. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Combine the negative 36 and the 14 and you get negative 22. Notice that that's just x. 14 I'm going to do by vertical method. And then you can see how I'm getting those numbers. I'm just saying negative 7 times negative 7, which is 49. Negative 7 times 6 is negative 42. Put a 0, second row. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. X, and then 3 times 6, x is 18x squared. And then again, you're saying right there, it's combine your like terms. Negative 42 minus 21 gives me negative 63. All right, so let's look at these next ones. Okay, these next ones are kind of like the perimeter ones. You're multiplying the big one, and then you're going to multiply the small one and then subtract. So notice I'm going to get the two answers, 6x squared minus 4x, and then x plus 3, x minus 3, x minus 1, multiply, and then get the four answers. Those two answers I'm going to subtract. So basically I'm trying to subtract these two, the 6x squared minus the 4x, and the, whoopsie, let's go back here, and the x squared plus 2x minus 3, the bigger rectangle over the smaller. So to kind of make some space, I'm going to show this. So I'm going to put it here. So 6x squared minus 4x is going to get subtracted by that negative x squared. Notice how that minus is changing the sign of everything from that second answer. So notice how that minus made that positive x squared to minus, plus 2x into minus 2x, but the minus 3 became plus 3. Combine those and you get your final answer. The shaded area is 5x squared minus 6x plus 3. Same thing for this one, although you got to kind of remember, and I'll do this one by distributive property, that this four little squares there's four of them. So you get the area of one, but you need to multiply it by 4. So I'm kind of showing you how to get the area of the big thing, the area of the big rectangle. X minus 4 times 2x gives me 2x squared minus 8x. Now, there's 4 of those. So I need to multiply that area by 4 before I subtract. Okay, that number is what I would subtract from the 35x minus 16x, or 35x squared minus 11x minus 6. So notice how I'm rewriting it, lining them up, and then I would subtract. 35 minus 8 is 27, negative 11 plus 16 is positive 5, and then bring down the minus 6. Alright, so there is the review, there is the test. I kind of went through it quickly, but hey, if you need to watch it again, you can watch it again. It won't hurt my feelings. Anyways, hopefully this gets you ready. I don't know exactly how many problems I'm going to do for this test. I doubt I'll do all 16 problems because I know some of y'all might need a little bit more time than others. And then, so we'll see what I go from there. Whether or not I will make it multiple choice also kind of depends. I mean, if I do 16 problems, I'll try to do multiple choice. If I don't do 16 problems, I may not do multiple choice. So we'll see from there. Anyways, thank you very much for your time and good luck on the test, and I hope y'all are really well prepared. Take care.